Welcome to Thriving Tribesmen. My name is Corey, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. So, one brave soul that was listening to our podcast decided to come to Instagram and got in touch. And by the way, the Instagram is thriving_tribesmen. And he was asking questions. It was really cool. And I think while initially when we were talking, you're sort of tentative because it felt like at some point I'm going to start pitching and saying you need to buy this course and you need to do this, but it's none of that. Whenever you come and we have a conversation, it is actually a screening process. So I don't just take anybody. It's not. That's not how we roll. We're building a really amazing product, and we're very selective with people that come in. You have to be a certain type of person, and we sort of put through this application process. So he's within that application process. Gave him some homework. But the thing that we're talking about, which I thought would be interesting to talk about in this episode, is dominance and how that you have to reclaim that within your relationship. A lot of you guys within a sexless relationship have decided to put dominance to the side because for some reason you feel like if you're dominant is really bad. And a lot of it has come from you guys watching TV. You find that the guy has to be, when you see romantic comedies, that's what most guys have sort of adopted. They think that's what women want. But generally, that's shows weakness. And then she's really put off sexually by that sort of guy. She thinks she wants that guy, but really what she needs is somebody who's dominant, who's decisive, who makes decisions, and so on. So I'm going to revisit an episode that I've made, which talks about dominance and how that is important within your relationship. And we need to really just understand what that is. Because I think when we think of dominance, you think it's overpowering somebody, that I'm imposing my will on you so you cannot function, which is not far from what it is, especially in a relationship dynamic where you're married and there is sex involved. So when it comes to dominance, really it comes back down to I'm sorry for the tapping because I'm trying to get to my notes here. So when it comes to dominance, there's three components that come with how you demonstrate dominance. And the first one is it's the ability to protect is it's the first one. And what that means is that there's a part of us as human beings, as we're evolving, our minds and our bodies evolved in a way that made us into apex predators. So while the other animals sort of use power, strength, and speed in order to trap animals, in order to eat, we had to start be cunning and use endurance and be strategic in the way we try and hunt so that we can get the prey, so we can eat and perpetuate the species. So ingrained in us, we have that. But in a society where there's less and less requirement to hunt, less and less requirement to strategically think in order to feed your family and perpetuate the species, we're sort of almost in a sense dumbing down, and our bodies are not sure what is going on. We're equivalent to, like for me, the saddest thing is whenever I go to the zoo, I like to see the big cats, but at the same time, I feel quite sad when I see them because all of a sudden you got this tiger in front of you. Apparently, they roam up to about 200 miles of area when they are by themselves, just roaming, and all of a sudden they're now just locked into this little 400 feet square cage, and it's just, and again, they're not just by themselves, they're locked in with another one, and it's very unnatural. So you take away a large part of what they require and need to feel alive. So many of you guys, when it comes to training, you look at it as an option. It should never be an option because your body requires it, your brain requires it, that you get up, you train, you focus on it. And like lately, because I've got this understanding of before it was Muay Thai, I was like completely obsessed with it. But now, at the moment, because I can't do Muay Thai, I'm doing the gym. I'm going to the gym. I go to the gym because I know that I just need to push weight, lift, pull weight, and do that. And I might not go as intense as the young boys, because some of the young boys are just going crazy. They're just lifting really, really heavy. But I just do functional exercises, take kettlebells and walk on the treadmill, put a weighted vest, and use the sledge and pull it and push it. And all of that is what my body requires to almost feel whole and alive again and wild, just what it needs. Similar to a dog, what you would do with a dog, that certain breeds of dogs, you have to do certain things in order for them to feel like they're thriving. And that is the feeling that then translates into your relationship, because the more you feel dead on the inside because you're not doing this, it spills over into your relationship. And this is the reason why you have to do it. And again, it's just that also that confidence that you get from being capable to defend your family because of the strength that you have and that you're always pursuing that you're always working on. So again, the ability to protect becomes an important piece, and that's how you end up showing dominance, because all of a sudden you've got this self-confidence inside of you that you can handle yourself. If you're required to use strength at any point, you're quite capable of doing it because you've built your body to be capable to do so. So this is a very amazing part about dominance that is nobody sort of talks about. They always talk about the, overpowering people. But the other bit is then strategic thinking. So when you think about strategic thinking, you're thinking how to, where we are right now as a family, financially, within the relationship, for the children, where are we right now? And where are we actually going in terms of a family? What does that look like in terms of fulfillment? What does that look like in terms of happiness? What does that look like in terms of success? And when you can start thinking like that, it gives you the opportunity to really start sort of working your way back to what's required in order for you to get there. So, for example, this is the goal for us to be fulfilled and happy in our relationship. That's the goal. What are the steps that I need to do every single day in order to get there? And what are the steps that I will need to do weekly in order to get there? What are the steps that I need to do monthly in order to get there? So when you start thinking about it that way, it restructures the way you behave with the time. You become very, very good at keeping time and using your time wisely. And again, that's something that women will find quite attractive, because when you do that, built in that, there's also a built-in scarcity. There's a built-in part where it shows self-worth, because obviously now you know where you want to go. It means that you understand how you have, what sort of person you have to be in order to get there. So again, part of it will be you evolving to becoming the guy who's in a fulfilling relationship and what that looks like. And also challenging your partner to be that person that becomes that person who can have a fulfilling relationship. And this is a very important piece, because again, when it comes to strategic thinking, it then comes back down to, those things that we've been talking about in the past few days. Like, how do you communicate your ideas? How do you communicate in a way that's collaborative, that isn't causing you guys to fall apart every time you try and have a conversation that is quite deep and quite uncomfortable? How do you make those uncomfortable conversations comfortable in such a way that you're collaboratively going to pulling the same direction and getting to the place where you're both going to the place where you're both happy, both feeling fulfilled, feeling amazing? And this is a very important thing distinction that you need to start considering, especially when it comes to thinking that we at the moment, the guys within Reignited Men, been trying to get them to get down, communicate with their wives about making a plan. And this is a plan of 5 years from now. What does that look like in terms of our relationship? And what is it that you want from that relationship? And then you start trying to put some rules of engagement. So from now on, this is how we're going to engage in our relationship. And this is an important piece. When you can do that, that's dominant. Because again, you're not doing it where you're dragging her by a wrist to this location, but you're almost setting the idea, and then you're all working together. It's when you can do that. Whenever you collaboratively walk towards a goal together, what tends to happen is that when the times when you feel weak, she'll be the one that's going to be able to sell you on the idea to continue going. And this is why it's powerful. When you drag her with you, you hold her by the wrist and start trying to drag her to this place, with this moment you let go, she's going to go backwards and default to where she was before. So this is very, very important. And the last bit, and hopefully I'm not going too far in terms of the time, but it's internal resilience. So a lot of you guys, this is where a lot of guys suffer in terms of dominance. Some of the first two you guys already have, but a lot of guys suffer on this one. I think, I don't know if it's the most critical, but it's probably one of the most important ones in terms of just dealing with day to day and dealing within your relationship, which is having that internal strength. So in that resilience, that when, despite of what you're seeing in the physical and what's happening, you can believe in exactly what you're trying to accomplish. So for example, I want us to have a fulfilling relationship. The fact that you're not having sex right now isn't an indicator that it's not going to work. It's an indicator that, okay, what are the things that are actually working, that are getting us close to that? Can I focus on that? And also, the fact that we're now in a collaboration and we're walking forward, is that something that we're both we're in collaboration and working forward? Is that something that I can add on, or is that something that I can I can sort of pause and allow her to grow, for example? And I'm saying this because, again, a lot of guys, when it comes to this, especially the internal strength, is that there's always going to be resistance when you're trying to walk towards fulfilling relationship, high frequency sex. There's always going to be this resistance, and that's resistance that's based off of her and the reasons why she's lost any sexual comfort. So when you start trying to increase that sexual comfort, it comes with discomfort for her, and there will be resistance. And usually when people get that resistance, they sort of implode, because all of a sudden, I'm a terrible guy. I'm not handsome. I'm fat. They start going through this process where they're really self-destructing. So it's the ability to say, okay, we're going to go this way. It's going to be collaborative, and believe that. But at the same time, when you do get resistance, then you say, okay, this is the resistance that's happening. It's only resistance because she doesn't want to leave this default state where she feels safe. I'm going to make her feel unsafe in order to build sexual comfort. So therefore, you have to have that internal resilience when you face rejection, when you face resistance, when you're being shamed, when you're being blamed for certain aspects of the relationship. You need to have internal resilience, that you're not going to emotionally react. You're not going to act in a way that's going to be low value or weak. So again, this becomes a very important piece when it comes to the whole dominance factor, that when you got that internal strength, it gives you that ability to communicate things. And whenever you get that rejection, in inverted commas, or negative response, you do not fall apart whenever you get that. So hopefully that's something that's helped you guys. This is probably a longer episode than I would have liked, but it's probably more deep down in the teaching. So hopefully this is something that you needed to hear. Definitely for the guy that came onto Instagram, I just wanted to dive in a little bit deeper. I've made an episode like this before, but it's always nice to make a different version of it. So hopefully this is, and it's a good to make a different version of it, because when I made that one, between making that one and where I am now, I've changed. So I'm consistently changing. So there's always new things that I'm learning, so it's always nice to remake some episodes, because I'll be having better insights every time I make one. So thank you very much, guys. If you've got any questions, go to thriving_tribesmen on Instagram, and I'll be able to answer you. And again, if you just want to have a conversation, you're more than welcome to. There's no sales pitch. Again, there is no sales pitch, so I'm not going to be selling anything to you. Like I said, it's going to be just a conversation, straight up conversation, just really trying to figure out who you are. And then if you want to apply for the process to get into the program, then, you might get the invitation for it, but there's no pressure at all. So thank you very much, guys. Speak to you guys soon. Take care.